Hello, good afternoon. My name is Peter, True Blue Thai, here in lovely Thailand, 12,000 k's away from the UK. And for instance, we're here for another Manchester City preview of the next game in the run-in, which is this is where it gets really interesting at the moment. And I just want to have a quick chat to you. So, for instance, I hope you're doing well. For instance, weather's about Friday. Weather's around about 37 degrees here at the moment. For instance, yeah, to me it's not too bad. I'm used to acclimatized to the weather. For instance, it's because it's a bit cloudy, so we've got a bit of cloud over there. Sun, beautiful. Over next to the beach. So yeah, and for instance, I normally go for a run every second day. I haven't actually gone and do yoga and swim. For instance, I do miss it, but I've got a bit of a groin strain. Unfortunately, I'm a typical guy, for instance, and basically, for instance, I over overdone myself, etc. Especially when doing yoga, and I kind of restrict myself. I maybe ran a little bit, if it was too much. And yeah, so for instance, I don't think it's a typical groin strain. I think it's a strain, for instance, which is a strain which is it's not that bad. It's basically, for instance, it's I can get for instance, I think a few days off and a bit of massage, etc. And I should be okay. Anyway, because I do miss my running. Anyway, so let's get on with it. So Manchester City are playing Bournemouth tomorrow, Saturday, once out. Okay, fine. And then the Vitality Stadium was going to 5:30 kickoff in the UK. That's 0:30 in Thailand. So yeah, it's midnight 30. Great. I'm going to be another in the silence, for instance, because that's my lady sleeping, and she gets grumpy when I wake her up. Anyway, so for instance, yeah. So we're playing at the Vitality, for instance, and we're doing quite well against Bournemouth, Manchester City, because we don't really lose against Bournemouth. We played the first game this year. The first was at the Etihad, and we won 6-1. Jeremy Goldpool was it four assists and a goal. Yeah, so they played a blind at that time. So yeah, it was a hell of a game, and we expected to go on because we were doing very, very well at the time. And suddenly Rodri got sent off against Forest, and kind of the season's kind of gone from it's kind of yeah. Anyway, so for instance, but we're not doing too bad. We're very highly critical Man City fans because we so used to great football, and they were a little bit critical of actually, for instance, yeah, when we're not doing well. So yeah, and the last game against Brentford, and I've seen a lot of YouTubers and LB and talks about typical City and City Extra, and big up to these guys. I enjoy its content. That's the reason I won't watch it. I always listen to what they have to say. Anyway, so for instance, and they're disappointed with City and the way we played, which I understand. But for instance, also nobody said anything about Brentford, and Brentford, for instance, who were fighting for their lives, and yeah, they deserved. For instance, they came, and there was I think Al Haaland should have at least two penalties because his number 30, for instance, was insistent on Kipku, on fouling Haaland. And so, yeah, overall, for instance, yeah, I thought they played well as well. For instance, they didn't play half as suicidal, for instance, where they played against Liverpool or even Manchester City when we were in the what's it called, in the G-Tech. Okay. Anyway, so for instance, going into the game, for instance, how do I feel? Right. Well, I think, for instance, we are. For instance, we've had to. We were second position. We're 1 point behind Liverpool, but now we're back down to 4 points because Liverpool played after us. How they got played that next game because we were supposed to have this kind of extra game, for instance, our catch-up game, and then, for instance, that was it. But Liverpool suddenly turned up with another game the next day, and yeah, big up to them. They played. They went down 1-0. They've had all these injuries, but they've actually come off and actually won 4-1 in the second half. It really, and hopefully, we'll do the same thing to Louis next week. So the one we play with the FA Cup midweek. But so you've got to give them credit for what they did, and congratulations to them. So, for instance, and they've been put another 4 goals past them, so that's another 3 goals on their on top of their goal average, which puts a bit more pressure on the City and Arsenal. And Arsenal, for instance, went off to Porto, and this is the thing. They did do something similar last year, and what they've done is they've gone across and across in the Champions League. I think they were in the Europa League last season, and they were in the games where they were expected to win. And they basically, for instance, they've come back, and they haven't come back with the win, which means, and everybody expects that Arsenal to turn them over. For instance, looking at Big Steve and the Man Talk yesterday, and he's convinced Arsenal will turn over. ESPN was saying the same thing, and I'm sure they will. But what it is, it's the fact that one Man City went to Copenhagen, and won 1-3-1. Okay, that third goal was meant if it's that was they've got to come back and score 3 goals if they want to get through to Man City not scoring. So, for instance, he just give us we can rest players because we got United and Liverpool on the side. And Arsenal can't do that now. So I don't know who they got either side of their Champions League game. But, for instance, they've got to play a strong squad in all 3. And I felt that was missed by the YouTubers. For instance, not saying. Anyway, so I was quite pleased with for instance, so I was quite pleased with that goal. And also it puts a lot of pressure on Arsenal as well because Man City play first, Liverpool are playing against Chelsea, but they've already played that game in the League Cup, and then on Sunday, but Arsenal play after Man City, and then see how they at Newcastle. Now Newcastle aren't the greatest of forms, but for instance, let's see how they play. For instance, like how to have a game, it's not going to be an easy game. After Arsenal will in Portugal to come back, and they've got to go to St James's Park. Okay, but let's see how it goes. So, but Manchester City have got to go to Bournemouth, the Vitality, and do what we do best, which is win. So, can we do it? Well, let's go again. The stats says we don't lose or we don't drop point or whatever against Bournemouth. So how do I feel, for instance, going into this game? Well, again, there's a lot of City fans who are not pretty happy about the form, the way we kind of dipped off a little bit, and kind of understood, but you've also got to give credit to the opposition as well, and we're not like free-flowing investors where we normally are. The system is being picked up by a lot of City fans quite a lot. Say, for instance, when we're changing too much, the Alvarez situation, Doco on the left, who should we play, where Foden on the right, that kind of thing. And they're probably quite right, because these are the smart City fans. But again, for instance, we've got the win. We're still in this good run. We haven't lost since the Club World Cup, for instance, and we've so for instance, we're on a good bit of form. And even though things are not perfect, we're still not doing too bad, as far as I'm concerned. Now, for instance, who do I feel that we should play? Well, going into the games, I think we should be looking at playing, for instance, the same similar. I think with Aki on the left hand side of defence, then you've got Aki, Diaz, Foden, Aki, Diaz, Stones, and Aki Stones, Diaz, and for instance, and Walker on the right. We did Edison in goal, Rodri, and then you play, for instance, dock some people. Anyway, so for instance, so we've got Rodri, and I think, for instance, you would bring on Doku. People are saying Oscar Bob, but Doku's had such a good, a time with Bournemouth. You never know. For instance, maybe you can yourself create, and and also, for instance, I would put in Kevin, drop Alvarez, have Phil and Bernardo. Phil in the centre with Bernardo on the right, and then have Haaland up front by himself. But that's the way I would do it. For instance. But Pep has his own systems. He's trying to incorporate Alvarez, which is not kind of working at the moment. But let's see how it works in the future. So there you go. For instance, tomorrow, let's go. But again, if we've still got options on the bench. I do believe, for instance, we should be looking at bringing in Nunes and Kovacic in, for instance, especially if we get a couple of goals off, especially for Rodri, for instance, because he can't play every damn game. For instance, even though he looks like he can, so was good. But let's see how we get on. I looked at their size, Solanke and a few others, etc. They shouldn't pose us too much problems. I don't think they've won this season. This year. They got a credible draw against Newcastle. But I don't think, for instance, they're in the best of Richard's form. And I've seen Man City play at Bournemouth many times, and I think we'll do well against them. So I'm expecting Man City to get the 3 points. It's not going to be easy, for instance, but I think, for instance, Haaland scoring that goal has got his, I wouldn't say his confidence back. He's probably because he looks like he celebrated after the goal against Brentford, but he didn't go over the top, as it were. I think with a certain degree of relief, but he got his goal, and I feel feels and if we can get those balls into him, for instance, I think he will. For instance, score. So, for instance, and do us proud. What about, for instance, I just need, for instance, we need to focus on high tempo of the game. We're very low and slack sometimes at the moment, very lethargic, etc. We will have a lot of the ball like we normally do, especially against Bournemouth. But also, for instance, we've also got to think about their counter attack. Again, I think, for instance, if we don't push too far forward, and for instance, but I think if we get an early goal, for instance, that'll be the end of the game. So for instance, let's see. It's it's the Premier League. So, it's the vitality of their team. The fans are going to be up for it, and regardless of if it's such a bad record against City, but we'll see. So I'm predicting a City win. I don't expect anything. I can't say anything less. Max minimum, get a draw. But for instance, they're kind of like settled in mid-table for me. I think they'd be quite happy, for instance, to get away with a draw as well. But I think, for instance, we got too much for them. Other than that, for instance, the injury count, I haven't seen Pep Guardiola press conference, of course. It's already early, for instance, it's I think it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. in the UK at the moment. So for instance, it's still quite early. So but I think the only person we've got is Guardiola on the bench, who's still recovering, and Chris Waugh saw him on the bench, for instance, on inside City just before. But I don't think he's fit, ready. And I also saw, I don't think Jack won't be ready either. And I'm just looking forward to Jack coming back because he does offer us a good, for instance, good stability. And again, everybody's talking about the Copenhagen game, first 20 minutes, the best squad. And we look forward to seeing Jack come back. Kevin had a needle. I don't think as mad as what people are worrying about. I think, for instance, he's just basically, for instance, maybe like myself, he's probably overstretched himself and done a bit more. So, and I thought there was a certain degree of criticism of him being on the bench. Why is he on the bench? Why did he not? Why did he not? Why you put him on the bench if you're not going to play him? Well, the mere fact that, for instance, you're an opponent, you see Kevin De Bruyne on the bench, and knowing that this guy could come on, it's kind of like a fear factor thing. So when especially if it's warming up or anything. So it's psychological. I think is my pet putting him on the bench. But other than that, for instance, I still feel quite confident about, for instance, the way things are going at the moment. We get the win, that puts pressure on again back onto Liverpool because there will be only 1 point difference. And also with Arsenal, for instance, they've got to go and perform in Newcastle, otherwise it could be a long way. It could be a couple of 5-6 points away from City and City and Liverpool. So yeah, so it's one of these weekends, etc., which could be it could play an important part, for instance, in the season. I don't think it will be a big score. For instance, I don't want to give out score predictions, but I do believe, for instance, we'll get the W. But I'm not 100%. Not saying that like I've heard 4-0 at the moment, for instance. I'm not too sure about that. If we were in the kind of Liverpool flame form, then I would say yes. But at the moment, etc., I've been quite happy, for instance, with a tie, uh, you know, a goal. But I think it will win it by more than by 2 goals or more. But other than that, going into it, for instance, or what's happened at the moment. Any news which is worth talking about? I think the 115 charges, etc. There's a lot more talk on the trees, etc. Saying that City's going to get innocent, which I've always believed in. For instance, so I've been confident that from the beginning, and but I want us when we do I want a lot of apologies from a lot of people, for instance, or I want to start suing some of these journalists that use Manchester City's name as toilet paper, and just Radcliffe was doing his speech, credit Manchester City, for instance, especially the Madrid, the Madrid game he saw for the first half, and he said Man City and Liverpool are City's rivals. He's talking the talk. He's bringing in a few people, for instance, but again, I think United fans are getting a little bit too giddy too quickly, and I think it's going to take a long time before that club turns around. And they're on a bit of a roll at the moment, but they haven't won a controlled game this season. I don't think. I don't Aston Villa game. I don't know, but I don't think they've controlled the game. For instance, other times I've had chances. We've got the derby coming up. Man City Salford derby. But yeah, to the Etihad. So, for instance, and I'm confident going into that. Could they score against us? Yeah. Could we score more than one against them? 100%. Against Luton, etc. I thought it was like a ping pong game. It reminded me of the City 4-4 against Chelsea. Other than that, let's talk about City and Pep and him going to internationally after he retires. Just wish they would just leave this nonsense alone and stop. Yeah. Because I think we got Pep. For instance, I'm quite very confident he's going to start signing the contract, and for City, after his deal ends up in 2025, he's just confident. He's happy. He's settled, relaxed, and maybe look at Klopp, etc. in the way he is. Or if we go to Germany and look at Tuchel, and his nasty, he's overrated. That guy really is, he's made a right mess of that place. And then you've got what he's done with, for instance, with that team, etc. And how the hell he's going to stay at the end of the season. I think it's just crazy. I really do. But overall, and one of our transfer targets is Joshua Kimmich. See how he is towards the end of the. See how he is. He didn't look very happy at all. Towards the arguing with trainers. But I hope we can get him. Because we need that replacement for Rodri or possibly somebody to assist Rodri. But overall, so let's see how it goes. Just going in on my side. I'm quite looking forward to the game, for instance, and I will catch you the day after. I do feel a bit tired at the moment. I haven't slept very well. I just got a few things on my mind. But other than that, I hope you wish you well. I hope you enjoy the game. I'll speak to you later. Guess we'll after the game. Hope we get the W. Yeah, W. Not the walls, W. Yeah, and yeah, I feel very confident we will. And yeah, and come on City. You know, and if you go into the game, big up to you. I know some people couldn't even go because of the ticket allocation. But yeah, if you go into the game, big up to you. For instance, great support, fantastic. I love watching Man City, but away section do proud, they really do. Anyway, so but other than that, and come on City. I'll catch you Sunday. Okay, take care. Bye bye.